So, thank you guys so much for agreeing to this quick meeting. It basically one little order of business that we usually take care of later has gotten switched around, and so usually in the past when we vote on grant recipients, we also vote on the amount that we will spend as on administration. And this year on the form, the part that's due on October 15th, now you have to decide ahead of time before you even know, how much, how many people are applying. You have to decide how much you're going to spend on administrative costs. So you're allowed to spend up to 5% of the total you've been given to grant. So we've been given $11,700 to give out in grants, which means we could spend up to $585 on administrative costs. Yeah, basically I'd love to, open it up for questions, discussion.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the past, we only used this money for the reception, but we're actually not allowed to use it for food and water, or drinks. And we don't really have other administrative costs, right? Because the town hall is supposed to do any kind of copying or that kind of stuff for us.
Right. So, right. So we don't have to pay rent if we do it the same way we've done it before. We could do it at the ACE building. We don't have, the only administrative costs we've used in the past have been Facebook ads. That was it. We might have, yeah. So other possibilities would be like if we wanted to set up a table at the farmers market during the summer, or do something at the event that took place a couple weeks ago on the Common. If we wanted a banner or a board or something like that, that's the type of thing that the money could be spent on. And what doesn't get, like if we say we said we were going to spend $300 on administrative costs and then we didn't spend that much, that money then floats into the next year's amount that we could grant to people. So it doesn't go away, it's just not available this year. Yeah, any other questions? Or
how much have we typically done in the past?
it has varied. Last year we set aside, even though we knew we weren't going to be able to have a reception, we set aside a little over $100 just in case we needed it for any sort of outreach. And we didn't wind up using it, so that's gotten included into this year's. That'll be, you'll see the amount we actually have for granting is going to be more than $11,700 because of these past years where we haven't used all the money, but the amount that the 5% comes from is the 11,700. Years before, when we could do like a real reception, I think we spent maybe $300, but that's when we really went all out on food. We had food and water and wine, and yeah, had a nice affair. So the only other thought that occurred to me, if we did want to have a reception and not have food available, is we could make goodie bags that had food, some sort of treats in them, with a label that had our Arts Council logo on it, and the recipients could take that back with them. So that was the thought that came up into my head about if we wanted to spend any of the money that way.
I think it's a good idea to make a banner now that you bring that up, because we have an official logo, which we never had before, that is tied in with the town graphic design unity plan. And if we ever did need it for whatever, whether it was a reception or a table at the farmers market, which itself is free because I believe any of the town tables or nonprofits, or you don't have to pay the farmers market for the spot. I don't know how much banners are. They could be $300 or 50. I have no idea.
Right.
But I don't know. How much do you think we should set aside, or should we put the 5% aside and then let whatever is extra roll over like we've done before? I know Colleen always is very vocal about saying we should have our administrative costs as low as possible and give as much money in the grants as we possibly can,
Right.
which I agree with too. So
Right. Yeah, something about the 585 seems a bit much personally to me. But I haven't researched to see how much a banner would be or anything like that.
I know how much a banner, it's like a table banner, right? That you would put on like vinyl. It wouldn't cost that much, I would say. Gosh, maybe 200 at the most. If for like a simple vinyl banner. Yeah.
I like your goodie bag idea, Carolyn, but I that's a question I would ask that we would need to find out. We have used the money for food in the past. I wasn't involved then, but I feel like we're not supposed to anymore. Like that was one of the restrictions they put on it, that you're not supposed to buy food with any of the grant money. We need to ask Timothea that. I feel like that I saw that somewhere. I read it somewhere, heard it maybe in one of the workshops we did.
Right.
And I could be mistaken. Maybe that's
it's ringing a bell, and I'm trying to. I think that it is not. I think it's a different category.
I would just want to clarify that, I guess, before intending to put money aside for that specific.
Right.
Do you think it would be worthwhile to consider, like we talked about, I think it was last session, maybe 2 ago, about we don't have really a web presence as something, that could be, that we could update with information and resources. That would be something that would cost money if we decided to do it.
Right. How, you mean like paying a person to do it, or just having
more just the hosting cost, that part of things.
Right.
Depending, I mean, there are a lot of different options and how much you could spend on it.
Yeah. So I know, I mean, we have a town hosted website, so that's available to us. I don't know. I don't know much more than that, and I don't know how often it gets updated or who manages it now. I know who first did, but I don't know. I think it's pretty simple. We could find that out. So I guess there's sort of two ways of doing this. We could just, for the purposes of this form that's due tomorrow, just vote on a specific amount of money, and we can include in our notes the thoughts about what it would go for, and we can continue to discuss that when we have our next meeting, or we could go ahead and continue that discussion now. What do you guys? Which way would we like to go?
Let's just pick a lower number, like 350 or something, and then knowing that possibly the bulk of that could roll over into next year. I mean, 11.7 is a lot more than we had before. Didn't we have 10,000 before, or was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, we had 10.5 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
I like that approach.
And
yeah, I was going to say that too.
Great. So we've had the 350 floated out there. Does anyone have different idea? Do you want higher or lower? Is there any other discussion about? It's really hard when we have no idea exactly what we might spend it on. But do you want to? Should we just make a motion that we spend $350? We set aside the $350 for our administrative costs this year.
I second.
Mhm.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
Right. Great. All right. So we'll do that, and we will. It turns out that the deadline was extended for people to apply. Weirdly enough, we haven't gotten notification of that, but people like Sarah who have been applying for grants got notification. I did get an email from three notifications. I got an email from someone at the Greenwood PTO saying, "Oh, I just got this notification. Please tell me it's true. It applies to us because I do want to apply. I just haven't done it yet." Apparently, it's the new system is just hard to create your account the right way, and once it's done, it's easier. But I had also been the head of the drama department in Wakefield Public Schools was also contacting me saying, "Help, I can't do this. I'm having trouble." So I'm glad they extended it.
Did you want to talk about the new budget form, you said? Or no?
So the only difference, the new budget form just sort of, I could share.
The old budget form you just made up yourself. The new one has drop-down menus and adding lines.
Right. And not only that has it's pretty easy to use. So I'm just gonna sign in here and show you where all the numbers are, just so then everybody sees. Because again, that's I guess the best thing. If somebody's bad at delegating, I should at least make sure the next person knows what needs to be delegated, right? So if you guys are able, did everyone here create their account when, over the summertime? Smart, simple. So when you go there, you'll probably see the council profile, and you can see, like right now, we have 15 grants that have been submitted and 2 more drafts waiting. But I'll show you the financial form here. So let me share my screen. All right, do you see that?
Yes.
Yes, great. So this account balance is a number that the town sends to me, sends to the chair. There's some interest income that we see as well. We get a report every month of interest income from the lottery. So that's, I guess, where that's coming from. Then total expenditures, that's the amount that we have that was to be granted out. Those are the people who have, over the past 2 years, who have gotten their grant requests in. So all of this sort of like calculates itself as you put it in, and you get this from Kevin Gill. And he signs it and I sign it, or the chair signs it, or the treasurer, whomever is in charge. And then we put the amount here, the encumbered funds. That's all the money that has been awarded but not asked for yet. So there was like one group that contacted me and said, "We're not going to be able to do our project this year." So because I got that email, I was able to take that off of the encumbered funds, and that floats back in this year. Otherwise, there's another year delay on that. And then here, here, voting meeting decisions. This is where I can put our 350. And then you'll see here is where that's the total amount that we will have to grant, the $12,601, because there was money from past years that was not claimed or money that we didn't use for administrative costs. So we'll actually have more money to grant out than just the 11,700. So that's a quick walkthrough of what this form, it starts off with paperwork from the town, and then the hardest part is just making sure you've kept good track of when people have claimed their grant money, that you've kept it on the spreadsheet, and everything's there. Does that make sense? Okay, this is the part of the year, quite honestly, that I just always hate, because I don't like worrying about money. And especially it's not my money. This is the town, this is taxpayer money that, you know, trying to make sure we're accounting for. So, any questions? No? All right. So once the deadline is passed, we will, after November 1st, I'll send out a doodle and we'll have a meeting to look at all the grants. You'll probably get a link where you can start and look at them ahead of time, probably after November 1st, and start collecting your ideas about everything. And yeah, we'll go from there.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Any questions? Nope. All right, so we'll talk more then about different ideas. So any research anybody wants to do about what we might spend the $350 on, that is welcome. That information is welcome to be brought to the meeting, and we can have further discussions then. Okay.
Great.
Thank you guys again for meeting tonight. I really appreciate the last minute, everybody doing that last minute with us.